Today we're going to talk about types of interviews that you're going to be faced with through your entry into the fire service and your promotion through the fire service. Those 4 types of interviews are going to be structured oral interview, unstructured interview, tactical assessment, and an assessment center. We're going to start with structured oral interview. The structured oral interview is an objective-based question and answer session that there are right and wrong answers. So the assessment panel is going to pose you a question. You're going to answer it with the correct answer, and you're going to build on that with your spin and your personality to test many dimensions as they're doing that. The key thing, one of the key things of a structured oral interview is knowing your job description or job analysis. You need to know what the job entails so you can answer those questions correctly. The second type of interview we're going to discuss is an unstructured interview. This is sometimes called the chief's interview. It's called a commission interview. It's definitely more personable. All right, so it's more of a conversation as you're in front of the panel. The key thing about an unstructured interview is they're going to ask you questions specific to that department that you're looking for or the position that you're trying to obtain. So if I was to tell about a department, I want to know how much area the department covers. I want to know the type of responses that it does. I want to know the projects that the department's trying to work on. Whether they're heavily engaged in community service, are they doing some other things in the school system with fire prevention. So very important key things. Many of those answers are found on the department's website, and again through the job description and the information packet they give you when you apply. For a unstructured interview for a promotional exam, it also is called the chief's interview, and they might be asking you questions that where's the department need to be 5 years from now? How do you think certain programs are going within the department, and how would you handle them? The key thing about these is having an answer. I can't complain about the department without having an answer or what's called a solution to try to fix it. The next one we'll talk about is called a tactical assessment. A tactical assessment is done in the promotional interview process, not too often in a entry level because you're coming in as a base candidate and you're going to learn all that. But for an officer candidate at the company officer level or the chief's officer level, we're going to look at your command experience and your knowledge of command. So it's usually most of the time it's a computer-based video that's going to show you a fire, show you an incident, could be a hazmat, could be a rescue, that you're going to make decisions on. And you're going to start to follow your procedures to fix this problem. You want to know your SOPs. This is a very common place where they're testing your standard operating procedures to make sure that you have a good knowledge of those. You want to know industry acceptable tactics, in your reading material, whether it's an offensive or defensive attack. They want to know that you understand what you're doing. They also want to make sure that you're being safe for yourself and the companies while doing the best for the community. So they're testing a whole bunch of knowledge and tactical things in that tactical assessment. And many times it's timed. The tactical assessment will have a time on it. And one thing that confuses a lot of promotional candidates on the tactical assessment is they compress what's called compressed time. They're taking an incident that'll run for 20 or 30 minutes in real life, which we're used to in our job, but they're timing it down to a 10-minute interview. So they're really pushing it, and they press you for time, and you have to make decisions a little faster and do things that aren't normal. The last one is an assessment center, usually for a higher level position such as a chief officer, but in smaller departments they'll use them for company officers. And in this one, you're getting tasked with the day-to-day things that position needs to do. And they're going to basically give you a rapid fire. And what your job is to, one, is prioritize them. I want to make sure that the ones that have the highest priority are getting done first. One of the things we always tell you in being an officer and moving up in the ranks, you want to delegate. You want to have other people get work done for you. And that's not uncommon in an assessment center. There's many things that can be delegated off, and then you need to follow up on them. Handling the priority items first, handling the incidents as they come up, things that are going to affect your response to the community, and then supporting things within the fire department are going to be in the assessment center. Very often there's writing in the assessment center. So if your job entails writing reports, that could be something that you're going to be tasked with. They're going to look at that job analysis and that job description and tell me that, hey, you need to write a fire report. You need to write a discipline report. That'll be part of that assessment center, and you're getting graded on it. And that includes spelling and grammar. So get used to your word processing program within your fire department. So a lot of ways that the assessment center can be done and evaluate those dimensions for that position that you're trying to obtain. So that's a brief overview of the 4 types of interviews that you should be preparing for. And depending on which one it is, we can look at each one individual and expand on it as a individual interview candidate.